Hello, I'm Mark Ellis, Barnstable Town Manager, and this is my Town Manager's Update for October 8th through October 21st. The Town Manager through the Finance Department has issued instructions to the municipal departments for the FY 2027 operating and capital budgets. We also have a calendar of events relevant to the budget, and you can certainly look at that if you'd like on the website. But one of the major events coming up in the calendar year fee hearings on Thursday, November 13th, 2025 at 11 a.m. Typically what happens following the fee hearings is we take them under advisement and we either 30 days later approve them as proposed, reduce them, or don't change them. So please, if you have time to view that or participate in it, do so. You'll have 30 days, so through December 12th to provide comment, and then ultimately we will take action relevant to the way I've just described. Following a workshop with Town Council on September 18, 2025, that focused on fiscal policy and revenue strategy, the staff has requested the next fiscal policy and revenue strategy workshop to occur in the first quarter of 2026. It's a very important discussion, and we hope to do it early next year. And for all other budget information, you can certainly go to our website and view on the town's open budget information relevant to our budget. You can also go to the finance department and find budget documents there. Mark Milne, Director of Finance, and John Curran, Director of Assessing, will provide an overview of two tax levy shifting options the Town Council will vote on tentatively scheduled for November 6th Town Council meeting. One option considers splitting the tax rate, which allocates more of the fiscal year 2026 tax levy to commercial, industrial, and personal property taxpayers, which requires a public hearing. The second option is to consider a residential exemption, which allocates more of the residential tax levy to higher value residential properties and second homeowners. Neither option changes the amount of the tax levy the town can raise. Fiscal year 2026 is a revaluation year for the town of Barnstable, and as a revaluation year, once the town received its preliminary certification on the proposed property values, it must provide a 5 working day notice to the public that the proposed values are available for public review. Depending on when the State Department of Revenue finishes their review of the town's proposed values, will determine whether the town can proceed with the votes on November 6th. So we'll keep you advised as that progresses. Town Clerk Ann Quirk provides the following election information. The last day to register to vote for the November 4th town election is Friday, October 24th. And the town clerk's office will be open until 5 p.m. for voter registration. You may apply for a vote by mail or an absentee ballot until Tuesday, October 28th. We do not offer early voting in person for the town election. However, if you're going to be out of town on November 4th, you can come by to the town clerk's office to vote on an absentee ballot. James Kupfer, Director of Planning and Development, recorded an updated presentation of the town's housing report. The recording provides an overview of the town's multifamily residential development report, which captures recent multifamily development projects between 2017 through October 2025. The multifamily residential development report is structured by 3 overarching categories: multifamily development within the downtown Hyannis, prior to downtown Hyannis, zoning amendments between 2017 through February 2023. Multifamily development within downtown Hyannis after the downtown Hyannis zoning amendment. So that's between February 23 and October 2025. And multifamily development not within the downtown Hyannis prior to and after the downtown Hyannis zoning amendment between 2017 and October 2025. The presentation walks through each of the multifamily development projects within downtown Hyannis after the downtown Hyannis zoning amendment, highlighting the status of each project from in-permitting through final construction, defining the total units, including affordable units, and presenting the design drawings, including site plans and elevations. The video recording, as well as the town's multifamily residential development report documents, are both accessible for review from the town's website by clicking the housing button on the left-hand side of the homepage, or by clicking in this document, my town manager report, and it's just click here. The recording and the report are listed under plans and reports. Barnstable's Council on Aging will be hosting a Medicare open enrollment presentation on Monday, November 17th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. at the Barnstable Adult Community Center. This informative program, presented by Barnstable County, will provide updates on Medicare plans, deadlines, and coverage options. Residents interested in attending can call the Council on Aging at 508-862-4570 to register for this free session. The town of Barnstable is currently updating its open space and recreation plan, which is a tool through which a community plans for the future of its conservation and recreation resources. The open space and recreation plan will provide a blueprint to guide the town's plans, investments, policies, and regulations in support of protecting and enhancing open space and recreation resources. A draft of the updated open space and recreation plan will be available for public review and comment Wednesday, November 5th. The plan will be accessible from the town's website, and hard copies will be available at each of the town's libraries, as well as the Planning and Development Office located at Town Hall. A community meeting will be held on Wednesday, November 19th at 6 p.m. An in-person meeting at Town Hall, 367 Main Street in Hyannis, within the hearing room located on the second floor. The objective of the meeting is to provide an overview of the draft open space and recreation plan and to obtain public comment as the town progresses toward finalizing the plan. Live Portuguese and Spanish interpretation will be available. The Recreation and Hyannis Community Center will or have announced the launch of a new registration software. The staff from Community Service, Recreation, and the HYCC have been working to build this new website, which provides our residents and visitors with an easy-to-navigate site that is full of information, is equipped with built-in translation capabilities, and interfaces with the recently updated Youth and Community website. Visitors to the site will be able to register for programs, look at public offerings at the HYCC, request meeting space or outdoor recreational facilities, get directions to outdoor recreation space, and see public calendars listing all programs and events. With support from the Communications Office and the Barnstable Public Schools, we are getting the message out, and our winter program registration will be conducted with this new software. Please visit the website and create your new account. If you need any assistance, please call the HYCC at 508-790-6345, extension 113. And the new website can be found at the link provided in my communication. For those of you who just want to know, it's www.barnstablema.myrec.com. That concludes my town manager's update. And now Assistant Town Manager Andy Clyburn will provide an update on the Quality of Life Working Group, followed by Kelly Gollaby, Communication Manager for the Public Works Department, providing an update on water resource management planning, including our comprehensive wastewater management plan. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Assistant Town Manager Andy Clyburn, here to give another update on the Quality of Life Work Group established to look at enforcement efforts across all town departments. We have been meeting twice a month to discuss recommendations for improving enforcement with regard to policies and procedures and communication to the community. On Thursday, September 4th, a public hearing was held and Town Council voted unanimously to approve proposed revisions to zoning fines. On Monday, September 22nd, the Planning Board voted to continue Town Council Item 2026 TAC 8, Home Occupation, and Town Council Item 2026 TAC 12, Storage of Commercial Vehicles, Trailers, and Mobile Homes, to separate public hearings on Monday, November 10th. At the close of each public hearing, the Planning Board will take a vote on its recommendation to Town Council for each of the proposed zoning amendments. These items will each require a majority vote of the Planning Board members present and voting. Upon recommendation of the Planning Board, the zoning amendments will proceed to public hearings before Town Council, likely to be in December at the earliest. Adoption of the zoning amendments requires a 2/3 vote of all of the members of Town Council. Town Council is considering a new Zoning and Regulatory Standing Committee of the Town Council. Item 2026 TAC 39 is scheduled for a public hearing and vote on October 23rd. The Zoning and Regulatory Committee will review and make recommendations to the Council regarding proposed zoning amendments and other proposed regulatory ordinances and amendments submitted to the committee by the Town Manager or by one or more councilors. The Zoning and Regulatory Committee, on its own initiative, may submit to the Council proposed zoning amendments and other proposed regulatory amendments and ordinances. If the new standing committee is approved, proposed ordinances and amendments currently under development by our Quality of Life group, such as an updated noise ordinance, will be referred to this Town Council committee as the initial step of the process. The review by the committee would occur before undertaking the process outlined in Chapter 40A of the General Laws of referral to the Town Council to hold a first read and refer to the Planning Board. This should provide a more robust process with more opportunity for public input when considering proposed zoning and other regulatory ordinances and amendments. On Thursday, October 9th, Director of Asset Management, David Anthony, conducted a workshop with Town Council on the use of town property and special events. We appreciate Town Council input on our evolving permitting processes and look forward to continuing fiscal policy discussions relative to the continued increasing cost to support these events. The proposed establishment of a home occupation licensing program within the Inspectional Services Department will be discussed in a workshop with Town Council on Thursday, November 20th. We anticipate bringing forward the recommended organizational changes, including proposed changes to the town code, fee schedule change adjustments, and public hearings to support the necessary resources at subsequent Town Council meetings. Our hope is that by moving the licensing program discussion to November, the ordinance is currently under consideration by the Planning Board, and the proposed changes to the Inspectional Services Department structure and fees will reach Town Council at the same time later this year, thereby allowing Town Council to consider requests for enforcement resources at the same meeting that they consider adopting the new ordinances. That concludes today's update. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Kelly Gollaby from the Department of Public Works, and I will be walking you through our water resources management update. First, we'll take a look at our active comprehensive wastewater management plan sewer connections. To date, we are at 65% of total available sewer connections completed at this time. And as a reminder, the chart to your right will show you a breakdown of sewer connections completed by individual sewer expansion project, as well as the timing, also known as the round in which they became available. So as a reminder, we've had 3 rounds of sewer connections at this point, with 65% total completion. We continue to actively review permits for sewer connections and work very closely with our colleagues at the Barnstable Health Department to work through compliance and ensure that everyone has the information needed to fulfill their sewer connections. Next, we'll shift over to active sewer construction. The Centerville Village sewer expansion, North Phase, is fully underway. We're in our 2nd construction season for this particular project, with anticipated completion in the spring of 2027. Since our last report, we now have 3 active work zones that comprise the entirety of the project route. So the first work zone is highlighted in red in the map to the left. This is our Chute Flying Hill Road work zone. This work has been ongoing since last season, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and does require the ongoing closure of Chute Flying Hill Road from Service Road to Great Marsh Road. One thing I want to note is that the crew has primarily been active between essentially 944 Chute Flying Hill Road and Great Marsh Road. That's where they've been installing the bulk of their sewer main to date, as well as their sewer services. So if you are driving along Chute Flying Hill Road, if you're local traffic living in that area, it does take a little bit of time before you come upon the actual formal road closure. So just keep that in mind as you're navigating through the area. We've been working very closely with our colleagues at the Barnstable Police Department to maintain that residential and emergency access while also ensuring that the work can safely be completed within the closure. Additionally, work zone 2 is identified in that teal color, sort of the center of the map, which is essentially our work on Route 28. This is work occurring overnight, Monday through Thursday evenings from 7 p.m. and concluding at 6 o'clock a.m. And this does require a closure of 28 from Finney's Lane to Old Stage Road. Business access is maintained to the extent possible, and we have been working with, again, our colleagues at Barnstable Police Department, as well as actively engaging with businesses within that closure who are operating during those evening hours to ensure that their patrons have all the information they need to access those businesses safely. Additionally, work zone 3 is highlighted in orange at the rear, or sort of the end of the map here. And this is our Mother's Park pump station work. It does also include sewer construction on Finney's Lane from Route 28 to Main Street. The contractor has submitted an updated schedule and anticipates mobilizing to the area of Mother's Park by the end of this month. The first phase of construction will be that new alignment of Main Street, as well as associated sewer work within that portion of the roadway and some drainage upgrades. Anticipated work hours are our standard Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And currently our traffic management plans submitted by the contractor are in review with DPW leadership as well as our colleagues at the Barnstable Police Department. As soon as we have approved traffic management plans, we will move forward with our standard outreach process, including media releases, mobile app notifications, social media, and e-news. And I will resume my regular briefings with the Centerville Civic Association and look forward to briefing the community at their upcoming November meeting. Next, we'll look at Route 28 West sewer expansion. Since our last report, we have hosted our pre-construction meeting with the contractor and key town stakeholders, including BPD, Calm Water, and Calm Fire. That meeting was hosted on October 1st, and a finalized construction schedule is now in development. That information really gives us what we need to kick off our more robust communications and outreach process for the construction portion of this project. Our first construction-related public information meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October 29th at 6 o'clock p.m. We'll be hosting that at the Barnstable Adult Community Center, and the meeting will be recorded for future viewing. Additionally, we have mailed our property owner notifications via USPS certified mail. This is a very robust package, which includes a formal project letter with the public meeting date information, as well as the sewer connection form. As you may recall from previous briefings, the sewer connection form is really critical during this initial pre-construction phase, as well as during active construction, because it provides our property owners with the opportunity to have a dialogue with us at DPW regarding where on their property line they would prefer to have their sewer lateral located. And that's ultimately what they will connect to when sewer connections become available. So we've really looked forward to having these conversations with property owners, and we've added a number of layers of outreach to this process. It starts with that formal USPS certified mailing, but we do in-person door-to-door outreach prior to the crew mobilizing for construction, as well as through multiple intervals throughout construction, really giving property owners as many opportunities as possible to work with us on the location of that sewer service lateral. Additionally, that notification packet includes FAQs regarding sewer connections and anticipated fees, as well as a number of sewer connection related resources. We'll continue to follow our traditional communications approach, including formal press releases when we have a finalized construction schedule, as well as communicating through Barnstable e-news, the dedicated Barnstable Water Resources email newsletter, social media, and the My Barnstable mobile app. And then, as I noted, additional in-person residential and business outreach will occur prior to construction, as well as throughout any major mobilizations or traffic impacts during the construction process. Next, just a brief update on the 268 Stevens Street pump station. Since our last report, we have concluded our public hearings with the Conservation Commission, in which an order of conditions was issued on October 16th, 2025 for the dewatering activity. We are now pending the contractor's updated construction schedule, and will continue to keep Town Council updated on the status of this project. Additionally, a brief update on the Bierce's Way sewer extension and vacuum sewer removal project. This project has been ongoing in collaboration with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation's Bierce's Way Shared Use Path project. We specifically have been addressing the vacuum sewer. We're basically in the final stages now of completing our in-road construction of the new sewer system, and then we'll be decommissioning that existing vacuum sewer. Initial paving of the shared use path is also anticipated to occur this season. So we're really kind of at the end stage here as we wrap up that in-road work. We of course appreciate everyone's patience. Traffic impacts have been varied throughout this project, depending upon the nature of the work and essentially where in the road the utilities are being installed. So we've continued to update the community through our various town social and digital channels, but have also really taken a robust in-person approach to working directly with the businesses and residential areas that are impacted during the ongoing road construction. So we're looking forward to seeing that work wrap up and decommissioning that vacuum sewer. Next, we'll shift over to the water pollution control facility. Two major projects here, our nitrogen removal and headworks improvements project. Since our last report, we have hosted our pre-construction meeting that was hosted earlier this month, and the contractor does anticipate mobilizing to the site by the end of October. We are working on a dedicated project page that will be hosted on barnstablewaterresources.com, where we're really going to take a very visual approach to documenting the construction, because it's really truly a next generation of wastewater treatment that we'll have here at our water pollution control facility in Barnstable. So we want to really do it justice by documenting step by step throughout the construction process what's happening on the site, since the majority of that work, really all of it, will be off-road. So it won't be as visual to the public as some of the sewer construction that you're used to seeing. So we look forward to visually documenting the construction progress of that project. And additionally, our effluent disposal evaluation is ongoing. The town continues to have discussions with the state regarding a phased approach to our water reuse and disposal alternatives. Specifically, our short-term evaluation is essentially imminent at this point. We are actively working with Mass DEP to expand the water pollution control facility's current permit to support flows through early phase 2 of the CWMP. And with that, our medium-term alternatives have also been identified, and that will support our flows through the end of phase 2. Those alternatives are being discussed with town leadership in DEP at the moment, and we anticipate bringing some recommendations to town council in the future. Concurrently, at the same time, we are always working through long-term options. We continue to evaluate different alternatives that would allow us the flexibility we need as regulations evolve from the state level. Now we'll just shift gears slightly to the water supply division, because this is a water resources update. So we're talking sewer, we're talking drinking water, and then we'll also have an update on some coastal resiliency in a moment as well. Our water supply division is really gearing up for the groundbreaking of the new construction of the Straightway Water Treatment Facility project. We have hosted pre-construction meeting, and the contractor, Daniel O'Connell's Sons, is anticipating mobilizing to 228 Straightway to begin construction by mid-October. At the same time, we are hosting a construction groundbreaking event at the end of the month on October 28th, and we look forward to continuing to brief the community on this really important project. We did begin our initial public outreach process, or I should say continued our public outreach, being that this is an environmental justice community. We've done extensive outreach throughout the design of this project, and now we're shifting into construction outreach. We've begun with immediate neighborhood abutter outreach, specifically to the folks who are really going to be seeing the impacts of construction on that site, as well as the neighborhoods just really adjacent to Straightway that may see some increased construction vehicle traffic. So we'll continue to leverage all of our town channels to communicate the status of the project, as well as that in-person outreach. For additional information, including just a reminder on the project background and the key project initiatives, there is a project page available on the Town of Barnstable website within the DPW page, as well as on the Barnstable Water Resources website with the link provided here. Additionally, I mentioned that we will be providing some coastal resiliency updates. We have a really monumental project happening currently at Sandy Neck. It's our long-term coastal resiliency project, which is in active construction as we speak. Construction began in mid-September and has been progressing really nicely. We hosted a groundbreaking at Sandy Neck on September 26th, which was attended by state and local officials. It was really a nice way to commemorate a really decades worth of effort to get us to this point to break ground on this project. Currently, we have both the upper and lower parking lots at Sandy Neck closed to facilitate this work safely. The ORV trail, Marsh Trail, and Gatehouse remain open and accessible to visitors. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our colleagues at Marine and Environmental Affairs, specifically Nina Coleman, Natural Resources Director and Park Manager, as well as myself at DPW or our Senior Project Manager, Amber Unruh. We're happy to answer any questions, and we're excited to continue to brief the community on this really historic project. Additional information is available at the link provided in this presentation, and that is an ARC map, essentially a GIS storyboard put together by the consultant and various project partners that really tells a very nice comprehensive story about not just the project need, but what's happening on site. So I encourage you to check that out. And lastly, just a brief review of some recent communication efforts. A lot of this is really coming from direct feedback from the community. So I love to just keep our council aware of what we're doing as we take into consideration feedback from our community regarding our water resources. So the first thing I will note is I have previously reported that we did launch Barnstable Water Resources specific social media. This is to complement what the DPW shares on the Town of Barnstable social media accounts, but with really a focus on specifically highlighting what's being done to protect our water resources. And again, not just the CWMP, but drinking water, PFAS, coastal resiliency projects. And then you'll see here a couple of examples, again, direct feedback from our community. We've provided a number of educational materials surrounding lawn fertilizer and the fertilizer use ordinance. We've also been doing some ongoing stormwater education, specifically around this time of year and the importance of keeping leaves out of our storm drains and our roadways. And then we've recently launched what we're calling our 5 things you need to know, which is really a highlight, quick little hit of need to know information regarding water quality initiatives across town. And then with that, we are also in the process of printing our most recent homeowner sewer connection guide. We're looking to update this guide yearly to make sure that the information is timely, fresh, and that we provide updates on available sewer installers in town. So you can look to see the reprint of the fall 2025 homeowner sewer connection guide hitting shelves in the short term, probably by the end of this week. And with that, that concludes our water resources update. Thank you.